Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, helping understand best practice, big picture, and of course, what's going to happen next. It keeps riding the lightning right at about 19,500, and we got to expect the worst and hope for the best, in my personal opinion, based on this situation. And there's also a handful of Bitcoin that was sent to exchanges here recently, a very large amount. And anytime that's happened previously, we've seen a pretty significant dump. I'll take a look at that with you, of course, here and much more. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love to teach people trade, you want to become a better trader, got over 16 years of trading experience. I funnel all that into my trading academy. I've also got a community and signal group where I send out signals for all the trades that I take so you can learn and grow as well with the community. It's an awesome experience, so check that out. One last thing that's also awesome is BitGet. I highly recommend you use this link to participate to benefit, of course, from the transfer, the free bonus USDT by using this link. But more importantly, just if you want to be able to use leverage in the United States without a VPN, this is the right exchange for you. I love it. It works out fantastic. I used to be a ByBit fan. And excuse me. And ByBit is not really as good as BitGet. BitGet works tremendously better. Their exchange is fantastic. So I highly recommend you check that out. I apologize for coughing too. I actually am still recovering from a cold from last week, so we'll see what happens here. Wish me luck. All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin. Big picture, let's go ahead and start with that first. Okay, so descending trend. I drew this out, of course, previously, and you can just kind of tell we've hit this highest point right there in November, close to 70,000, 69,000. Then, of course, we had our massive sell-off from 48,000, essentially. That was our, the case in point where we didn't have that second rally back in March. And then, of course, the price action, once again, here recently, retested that level and got rejected. So it's a pretty consistent trend line. So I'd recommend just kind of considering the overall sense of things that we're still bearish. We haven't broken above that. This did look like it was going to break above. This had a good chance, but unfortunately we got rejected right at that 22,700 range, and it's been history ever since. Unfortunately, that wonderful situation that occurred recently definitely didn't help us out a lot. Right? It's disadvantageous, unfortunately, but when those things happen, you just kind of got to pick up and move on. And we can see here, of course, the price action is still continuing lower. So what I mean by picking up and moving on is the fact that we got to accept that we're on a short-term downtrend and also a long-term downtrend. There's no reason to want to take like a long position right now, specifically because there's a lot of reasons not to. I'll explain what I mean by that, but let's start off with this here first. Now, this is a chart here on Glassnode that really helps us understand Bitcoin total transfer volume to exchanges. Okay. Now, if we take a look at this, we can see here previously back in April 2020, there was a massive amount of volume, and of course the price action shot straight down shortly after that. All right. We can see also here in coincidentally, so right around May of 2021, we all remember that last year, there was a significant amount of increase in volume, and the price action inevitably decreased from there. We now have a significant amount of volume and a very similar potential scenario. Okay. Not saying you should short your shirt off here, but there is a good chance that the bottom isn't in yet. Because if you look at this here as well, the more recent time frame, I think that's right around May of this year. That's just before we had one of our recent sell-offs. Increased amount of volume transferred, and of course an inevitable sell-off at that point. Okay. So again, it's unfortunate that this happens, but it's just something to kind of pay attention to. All right. So just kind of throwing it out there. The bottom may not be in, even though I like 19.5 as a potential support level. It's not super strong, and there's a decent chance we might see a lower price point. So just be prepared for that. That's all I'm saying. Take a look at Bitcoin here. We can go ahead and see, of course, the RSI still under 50. We only spent a short amount of time above that level. So really at this point, we can just consider that to be a resistance. And what that really implies is that somewhere in the range of 20,500 upwards of 21.5 would be that resistance channel. Okay, again, more resistance because we have a lot of volume at that level. And that really tells us that we have somewhat of a shelf, but we also have a nice amount of volume where we're at presently too. So we got to recognize this could really work as a support level. 19.5 could be a support. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of throwing out the realisticness of the situation. It's important to be transparent and clear about these things. And the technical analysis really is telling us mostly downside. I'm not saying it's going to dump tomorrow. We could very well see a rally moving forward here soon, but we need more consolidation at this price point. And we might be range bound for a little while. We're still a little premature to identify that. But the bottom line is we are making lower highs and lower lows. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the 4 hour. You can see that this is just continuing to push its way down. We keep retesting these lower levels, and it's absolutely disadvantageous. Okay, so again, it's not bouncing back and recovering as well as it should have. So until we break back up above this descending trend, I'm not going to feel very confident about a long position. Okay, so again, it's notoriously a common characteristic when the price action starts higher and it works itself into a wedge and continues to retest those levels, it breaks to the downside. Okay, so I would expect the worst and hope for the best, as I mentioned before, and expect the price to come lower before it goes higher. That's the anticipation, right? That's kind of the right mindset to have. So again, just generally speaking, that's where we're at there in that sense. We are trending closer to 30 on the RSI, and you can kind of just see this slow residual where we have this bearish divergence, and of course, the RSI remaining very much the same. So it really just tells us that the price action is going to continue until it doesn't, to do that specifically. We can also see the the MACD is losing momentum, so keep this in mind. We could very well see a convergence here and a return fire to the upside, because you can only push something to the downside for so long before it gets pissed off and wants to recover. The MACD is telling us that the bulls are starting to gain a little bit of control and the bears are losing that inevitable control that they've had. Right, again, so this could very well be a positive where you see the price action coming down, RSI staying the same. We're eventually going to hit a bottom and it's going to recover. Okay, so again, there's still a decent likelihood that the price action will bounce from here. We got to recognize that too. But we're below all moving averages and really just not a great situation in the overall sense of things. Taking a look at the 1 hour, let's go ahead and see if there's any potential for turnaround, any over-exhaustion, which doesn't look like there's much. It's just kind of just slowly bleeding out. So we can see the price action hitting a 9 here recently. That's where I pretty much took a long position based on the simple fact that we hit 2 nines on TD sequential to the downside, that you're likely to see a bounce. We did see a bounce. It came up within about $20 of our profit target, and it's ever since continued to slowly bleed out. So again, I would hold that position open. I feel as if we're still going to hit our target. But on the same accord, if we can see the price action going sideways here, you can see obviously that there's a lot of resets, not a lot of definitive direction going on right now. And that's okay. That's all right. We want that to happen because we want that consolidation at that lower price point to build that base. Okay, so again, mostly positive in that regard, but here's the bottom line. We've remained below the cloud, of course, for some time. Obviously, you're going to have that when you have such a significant gap from a decrease like this. But the bottom line, I'm kind of trying to pull home here for you, is that this moving average here, this descending trend, is working concurrent with the cloud. So until we break above the cloud and or this descending trend, there's no reason to get excited about a long position. Okay, because the price action will and could very well continue to just get rejected off the cloud and keep going lower, which is running concurrent in a lot of ways with that descending trend. Okay, again, just some things to kind of think about there, but generally speaking, the Ichimoku cloud is telling us that if you have a short position, you should have closed it by now, or at least trimmed some of your position off, right? And or consider taking a long here soon. But once again, you only take a long after you've confirmed closure above these levels. We're getting closer. It's naturally progressing itself lower, and we could very well see a break above. Once again, 2 or 3 hours at least above the cloud would be the recommended consideration for a long position. All right, so that's pretty much where we're at there. I would say mostly ominous, not fantastic. And, we got to expect it to get worse before it gets better. That's kind of what I guess the theme should be here for today. It could very well surprise us in return, but the world is a funny place right now. There's a lot of crazy, nonsensical stuff going on. I think even Bitcoin regulation, also a more recent thing. At least they got like a structure together for that. So just some things to be mindful of. Make sure you pay attention to that. That being said, I hope you learned something here today, of course. Let me know if you did, and if not, that's okay too. Maybe another one will speak to you there. I cover a lot of different coins every day. So you want to become a better trader? Again, cryptocash.tech is a website, link in the description below. Look forward to working with you. Once again, I also have a military and third world country discounts. Please message me direct if you have any questions on that. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.